Don't you need meat for protein? Don't you need dairy for calcium? You can't build muscle eating plants. Have you heard people say these things? Well, these are all myths, and I'm going to debunk them on this episode of the Fabulous Health Show. I'm your host, Terry Chrisman. I'm a whole food, plant-based nutritionist, and this show gives you the tools to obtain optimal health so that you can live a long, happy life and age with grace and vitality. You can catch all these episodes live on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube on Monday mornings, 10 o'clock US Central Time, or on your favorite podcast platform such as Apple Podcasts, Google, and Spotify. My favorite thing is you can just ask your smart speaker, I'm not going to say her name because she might be listening, to play the latest episode of the Fabulous Health Show. How cool is that? It's episode 64, and today I'm going to debunk all the myths surrounding a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. So you may have thought of these questions and not know the answers to them, or you might be plant-based and people come up to you and say, hey, where do you get your protein? That's myth number one. Protein, believe it or not, is in everything. It's in all the plant foods, some more than others. But go ahead and listen to episode 21 of the podcast back on fabuloushealth.net, and you will find all the information you need to know about protein. One of my favorite facts is that calorie for calorie, broccoli has just as much protein as beef, but broccoli isn't as dense as beef, and so you can eat tons more of it. Plus, it doesn't have all those nasty things that meat has in it, such as saturated fat and cholesterol. Now, what happens if we eat too much protein? And let me tell you, we do eat too much protein. There is not a protein deficiency in the Western world. Too much protein puts our nitrogen status into positive. And if you're a baby or a kid or a pregnant woman, you want that to be happening because you're growing something. You're either growing yourself or you're growing a baby, and you need that excess protein. But if you're not growing a baby or you're not growing yourself, if you're an adult, that excess protein is processed through the liver and the kidneys, and it puts undue stress on these organs. And in the process of it creates urea, and urea can lead to dehydration as the kidneys excrete the urine. It can also cause uric acid crystals, which can lead to a really painful and debilitating condition called gout. So don't overdose on the protein. The recommended daily intake of protein is only 0.84 grams per kilogram of lean body weight for males and 0.75 grams per kilogram of lean body weight for females. So for me, I'm 150 pounds, I'm 5'8", and that's about 47 grams of protein per day. But if I was 300 pounds and overweight with fat, I don't need all that extra protein to go up to the 300 pounds. Of course, if I was 300 pounds and I was all muscle, yes, I'd need to increase my protein requirement because it's lean weight you have to think about. If you're thinking in calories, it's around about 10% of your daily calorie intake is totally sufficient unless you're a serious athlete, and then you might need a little bit more. But you can get it in all the plants. Okay, myth number 2, you got to get your calcium from dairy. Well, think about it. Dairy contains all sorts of nasty stuff that is no good for our bodies. Dairy is the largest source of saturated fat in the US diet, and saturated fat is the cause of 1 in 4 deaths because it causes high cholesterol, can clog your arteries and cause heart attacks, strokes, atherosclerosis, and Alzheimer's disease. Dairy also contains medications because the cows, they get mastitis, and then they're always on antibiotics and also lots of other medications. They have bovine growth hormones in the milk. Why is that? Because guess what? The milk is for their baby cow, and they want their baby cow to grow from 100 pounds to 700 pounds in a year. Do you want to grow to 700 pounds in a year? No, don't drink milk. The other thing is that dairy contains pus because of the mastitis. And that's from the infections in the teats and in the udders of the cows. And the FDA has a limit on the amount of pus that's allowed in milk. Guess what? It's 750 million pus cells per litre. So I don't want any of that in my body. Do you want any of those pus cells in your body? I hope not. Calcium is really great for building bones and other metabolic things throughout the body, but you can get it in tons of plant foods, such as nuts like almonds, leafy greens, soy, such as soy milk, tofu, and edamame has tons and tons of calcium and protein, tons and tons of calcium, but around about 27 milligrams in a tiny little cup. Legumes such as peas, beans, and lentils have tons of calcium. And then your seeds, chia seeds and flax seeds, also really high in calcium. Would you believe even fruit has calcium? And the most is in fresh figs and berries. Let's look at myth number 3. You need healthy oils for your brain. Well, no, you don't need healthy oils for your brain because there's no such thing as a healthy oil. You need healthy fats for your brain, and healthy fats can come from whole foods such as avocado, olives, nuts, flax, and chia seeds. Oil is highly processed, and the jury is still out as to whether or not it promotes inflammation. But it does have 4,000 calories per pound. So that is the most calorie dense food that you can eat. It has very little nutrients. You don't need oil. It adds to your weight problems. It can add to your inflammation problems. So don't cook with it and don't add it to your salad dressings. There are so many ways that you can make your food healthy and delicious and crispy, i.e. an air fryer, without using any oil. So let's look at myth number 4. You'll be malnourished on a plant-based diet. What? I don't know where people get this from. It's so false. All the nutrients you need, your vitamins, your minerals, your phytonutrients, your fiber, plants are the only things with fiber, your protein, your carbs, your healthy fats, they're all in plant foods, every single one of them. Plus, plants have antioxidants that help repair DNA and prevent cancer. They have phytochemicals that mop up cholesterol and prevent and reverse heart disease and dementia. They have compounds that detoxify the liver and prevent and reverse fatty liver disease. You will be mega nourished on a plant-based diet. So let's think about this. Why does a person get fat if they're eating tiny little bits of food? Because if the food is wrong for them or doesn't have enough nutrients, they're getting malnourished and their body is craving more food. So they're always hungry. So if you go on an elimination diet or a calorie restricting diet without incorporating whole plant foods, you are going to be starving of nutrients and your body's going to want more and more food. So you're going to overeat. And where are you going to go? You're going to go to McDonald's, or you're going to go to the cookies, or whatever it is. And that is not going to help you. You don't get proper nutrition if you cut calories without increasing variety of plant foods. But if you're eating a whole food plant-based diet, you can eat tons and tons of nutritious food, but not eat too many calories. I got a podcast about that as well. I can't remember the name of it or the number of it right now, but go into the podcast and see it. You'll find it in the descriptions there. Okay, myth number 5. This is my favorite myth. You'll get too skinny. Hello, look at me. No, you won't get too skinny. Calories determine your body weight and a little genetics. I got fat genes. All my family on my dad's side were all obese, which means that the food that they ate was not great for them, but they had a propensity for being a little on the heavy side. Whereas for me, I have that same genetic buildup, but I choose not to eat the foods that they were eating that caused them to be obese. Calories in and calories out still applies, but with a whole food plant-based diet, you're getting nutrients as well. Now, if you're new to eating whole food plant-based, I understand it takes a little knowledge and it takes a little planning. Well, hello, that is why you're here watching this podcast or listening to this podcast. And I also have a Facebook group too. So go ahead and click on the link in the description below, join the Facebook group, and there's tons of information in there. And of course, my website, fabuloushealth.net, there's tons of free information there if you're just starting on your journey. But if you scoff yourself with plant-based foods such as peanut butter sandwiches and Starbucks frappuccinos with almond milk and syrup, or Oreo cookies or French fries, you will not be skinny. I assure you, you can put on weight on a plant-based diet. But if you're trying to lose weight, going whole food plant-based is the fastest way to lose weight and get healthy at the same time. You just need to eat the 4 food groups, and they are whole grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables. Stay away from the processed packaged plant-based food. Stay away from the fats and oils. Stay away from the breads and the pastries and the cookies and things like that, and you will lose the weight. Of course, if you think you're doing all the healthy things and you are having trouble staying at a healthy weight, whether that being putting on weight or losing weight, call me and we'll have a chat, because I've got some great tips for you and strategies that will help you get the healthiest you can possibly be. Okay, myth number 6, you can't build muscle on plants. Hello, tell that to the world's strongest man, Patrick Baboumian. Tell that to NFL team, the Tennessee Titans. Tell that to tennis legend, Venus Williams, race car driver, Lewis Hamilton, basketball player, Kyrie Irving, Olympic weightlifter, Kendrick Harris, me. I could go on and on. Not only does eating plants help you build muscle, it does so without the detrimental effects of eating animal products. No cholesterol, no hormones, no medication, no heart disease. It's the safest way to build clean muscle. In fact, I just read a great book. You can get it on fabuloushealth.net. It's called No Meat Athlete, and it's a magnificent way and a magnificent book, and it tells you how to build the most muscle on a whole food plant-based diet. Okay, what happened? Myth number 7. I can't add up. Myth number 7: carbs make you fat. Fat makes you fat. Why? Because fat has 9 calories per gram. Carbohydrates and protein only have 4 calories per gram. If carbs made you fat, then protein would make you fat as well. It doesn't make you fat. Carbohydrates are not the problem. Eating processed foods and animal products make you fat. Even processed vegan foods make you fat. Not moving your body makes you fat. Too many calories in your gob make you fat. Our bodies run on carbohydrates from fruit, veggies, grains, legumes, and tubers. Yes, tubers like potatoes and sweet potatoes. Get that notion out of your head that carbohydrates make you fat. It's a lie. It's not true. There is no basis in fact. Lose it. Okay, yes, lower your simple carbohydrates. Those are things like sugar, fizzy drinks, baked goods, bread. Get rid of those. Cookies, cakes, lollies. They're all carbohydrate laden too, but they are very processed and high concentration of calories. They are not going to help you. So help yourself lose weight by eating the whole foods, but don't lower the whole food carbohydrates. Okay, The last myth for today is myth number 8. I could have done 10, but I just did 8. Whatever. Going plant-based is restrictive. I had somebody tell me that they could never go plant-based because they believe in quality of life, not quantity. My head was spinning. Going plant-based improves your quality of life and your quantity of life. Boom, my head exploded. I just couldn't believe that this person said that to me, and I just didn't know how to respond. They thought that quality of life included eating anything they wanted to, all the animal products, all the cakes and lollies, all the alcohol. Well, that's not quality of life to me, because that breeds sickness and disease. If you call restricting poisons from your diet and only eating health-promoting foods restrictive, then maybe it's restrictive. But I don't think that reducing poisons from my diet and only eating health-promoting foods is restrictive. It's abundant. So if you're used to eating animal products or processed foods, you might be wondering what you can replace those foods with. Plant-based is not about replacing the meat. It's about adding food, adding variety, trying new things. Add new foods to your diet every single day, and eventually there'll be no room for the bad stuff. There are 30,000 edible plants on the planet. And if you multiply that by the millions of different recipes out there, you have got abundance. Do some research. Find the foods you like. Start off with the veggies and fruits and whole grains and legumes that you already like, and then expand from there. So no, plant-based eating is not restrictive. It is abundant. And that's why I love it, because I love to eat. I love food. I love taste. I love texture. And I get it all on a whole food plant-based diet. And you can too. So I hope this podcast helped answer some of your questions about a whole food plant-based lifestyle, and it debunks some of the myths. Please feel free to refer this episode to friends and family, particularly the ones that give you a hard time about the protein. Thank you so much for watching the Fabulous Health Show and listening to the Fabulous Health Podcast. If you want to go back and binge watch all the episodes, head over to fabuloushealth.net and click on the podcast tab. You can also subscribe to your favorite podcast right there from my website. I've got a Facebook group. Did you know that? Be part of our fabulous, supportive community by joining it. It's called the Whole Food Plant-Based Lifestyle for Beginners, and I'll post the link in the description below. And if you're curious about a whole food plant-based lifestyle, get a copy of my brand new magazine, The Optimal Guide to Health with a Whole Food Plant-Based Lifestyle. The link will be in my show notes, or you can click on the link on fabuloushealth.net. I can send you a PDF, or I can post one to you in the mail, a hard copy with actual pages that you can read. And of course, if you want to take your health to the next level and you don't know where to start, you can join my online course. It's called The Quick Road to Fabulous Weight Loss, or you can see me for private consultation. I'd love to talk to you and get in touch. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. I appreciate you all, and I'd love to help you obtain optimal health. So have a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.